Hello and welcome to Beer, Bourbon, and Games. My name is Chris. I am glad that you are joining me today. This is going to be another video in my Bourbon 101 series. If this is the first one that you're watching, I recommend going and checking out the original ones as well. They will definitely help you in your new bourbon journey. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about some glassware. It might sound like a dumb topic. It might sound like something weird to talk about if you're just trying to enjoy some American whiskey. But let me tell you, it is very, very important in your journey to not only begin understanding the complexities of bourbon, but also to better appreciate the nuances of the spirit that you are beginning to love. So we've got two glasses here in front of me. This is going to be a very, very standard rocks glass. Most of the time you will see this is what people order out at a bar. It will come in something similar to this. It is a very simple design, nothing fancy at all about it. Now, there is nothing wrong with using a glass like this. Most people will sip their whiskey out of this. But if you want to enjoy your bourbon or your whiskeys just a little bit more, I would highly recommend investing in one of these. Now, what is this awkward looking glass, you might wonder? This is what we call a Glencairn. There are some imposters, but the Glencairn company, or the Glencairn Glass company, were the ones that invented it. So there are some unique things that will allow you to enhance your bourbon experience, and this is not only for the enthusiasts. I think this is a great way for anyone to honestly enjoy their spirit. I'll make sure to put a link in the description down below, but there are some interesting things about this glass, and we're going to cover them today. First off, entry price is roughly $6 for this glass. It is not expensive at all. There are some knockoff ones that run about $2 or $3, but they have some imperfections. They're made not as sturdy as what these are, and honestly, for $6, it's best to just go with the originator, the person that actually made the glass. So I will put a link down to the Glencairn Glass version. So what is so important about this glass? Why does it enhance? That is a very good question. So there are a few things. One, you have a place to hold the glass down here below. So you've got a little area where you can very simply hold your glass. And what is that going to do? It allows you to hold this, and you're not transferring any of your body heat to the glass itself. So you are not warming up the spirit at all. You're not causing it to change temperature. You're not affecting it at all. So if I would hold it like this, my body heat is going to transfer over. That's exactly why when you're holding a glass like this, it is going to affect it in little ways. The next thing is you'll notice this little area that bulbs out here is very important. You can honestly fill this glass as much as you'd like, but I'd recommend going right about where the bulb cuts out. What that will allow for you is the proper amount of space to swirl your whiskey. So when you're swirling it, what does that do? It's going to aerate the whiskey a little bit. It's going to open it up. The aromatics are going to come into the air, and it might sound weird, but we taste with our nose. A lot of the actual tastes that you get when you're eating food come from what you smell. So if something smells disgusting, a lot of times kids go, "Oh, that's gross." That's actually because they think from the way it smells, it is going to taste the same way. So it allows for a little bit of area for surface and swirling, and that will go ahead and allow it to open up. Now the next important thing here is going to be this opening. You'll notice that it tulips up. Now, why that is important, it is the perfect amount to nose the spirit. So we're going to put some terms up here as I go over them. So to nose your spirit, or nosing, what that means is you are essentially smelling your whiskey. So you are going ahead and putting your nose into the glass, and you're going to try to see what smells you get out of it. The oak, the caramel, the vanilla, all of that stuff, you're going to be able to get a very precise smell because it is all being funneled up to this very fine tulip shape, and it is just the right amount of opening for it. So how do you nose? It might sound a little weird. You're going to slightly put your nose in the glass, but when you're doing it, you're going to want to make sure that your mouth is slightly agape. You're going to go ahead and get a nice deep breath. It'll then allow with your mouth open to kind of taste and smell at the same time, and that will enhance the smells you get out of it. Now, if you don't trust me, go ahead and pour yourself some whiskey right now. You can pause the video and then come back here, and I want you to nose it normal. Keep your mouth completely shut, and then go ahead and nose it with your mouth slightly open. And you are going to get a distinct difference between the two. So our first term of the day is nosing. So the next thing I bet you're wondering is this is a small glass. How am I going to get ice in here? This is going to be more of an enthusiast glass. So I'm going to try to get you out of your comfort zone if you get one of these, and we're going to try the spirit. And here's our second term of the day, neat. N-E-A-T. What does that mean? That means that you are drinking your bourbon, your whiskey, whatever it is, without any dilution at all. That is just straight from the bottle into here, and you are drinking it completely plain, but with all the enhancements to flavor. The only thing you're going to get is just pure whiskey bliss. If you put your bourbon into a glass like this, you can go ahead and you can add ice, which in that term is on the rocks. That is you adding ice. The ice is the rock. So the only reason I do not do that is because it's going to dilute my whiskey. It's going to slowly melt, and it's going to water it down. And when that happens, you are going to not get the full flavor of your whiskey. Now, there are some things you can do that are still okay by some purist terms. One thing that some people do if they want to cut down the alcohol burn a little bit, some bourbon whiskeys will have a higher proof, and people don't really like that ethanol burn that comes with it. So what you can do is you can either take a little eyedropper and just squirt in a couple of drops into your glass. And in some whiskeys, that actually does open it up a lot. It might enhance the flavors, but you're not melting ice in there and completely changing the profile. You're just giving one or two little drops of water to open it up. Another thing you could do is use a teaspoon and just drop a little bit of water from a teaspoon into your glass. That will do the same thing. Now, if you're looking at me and you're going, but I like my whiskey cold, one thing you can do is you can buy some whiskey stones. What they are little rocks of either soapstone, glass, ceramic. There's a lot of different versions that you put in your freezer. You get them really cold, and then you put 2 or 3 of them into your glass, and that will keep your whiskey cold for at least a little bit of time, and it's not going to dilute them because it is not water. It's a stone that you have put into your whiskey. They are flavorless. Don't worry, you're not going to change the flavor profile. The only thing I will warn you of, some of the metal ones, you have to be careful because you can crack a glass. I personally use the soapstone ones. They're a little bit softer, and they seem to hold the coldness just a little bit longer. So that is a whiskey stone. So far we've gone over neat, on the rocks, whiskey stone. Now that you've watched this video and you've learned a little bit about this very, very simple yet important glass, I want you to go ahead, pause the video. I want you to have a whiskey in your hand, and let's just enjoy the fruits of our learning and of our labor. So we have this beautiful, beautiful Evan Williams. It is the bottled in bond 100 proof. As you can see, I highly enjoy this one. It is not expensive at all, but it is a very nice bourbon. 100 proof, we're going to just swirl it around. We're going to open it up, and that will just let some oxygen in there. Let it breathe just a little bit, and you can see that we had plenty of room to swirl in there. And I am using my grip down here to not heat up my whiskey at all. And as we can do from before, let's go ahead. I'm going to show you that nosing again. So mouth closed for a test. A lot of caramel. Definitely a lot of caramel in this one. Oak, alcohol burn, some vanilla. Now, take that whiskey you have and slightly open your mouth. Give it another smell. I've done it. Everything smells so much more subtle. The flavor profiles are bouncing off of each other so much differently than what they were before. Now, you might think that I'm crazy. You're going, how does he smell oak, caramel, vanilla, all of these things? Don't worry. The more whiskey you have, the more these flavor profiles will start coming out to you. This is going to be a journey. It is not a race whatsoever. Bourbon and whiskeys are just a fascinating experience. So don't ever let someone tell you how to enjoy your whiskey. I'm giving you tips on ways that you can enhance it, but by no means, if you use ice or you use a glass like this, do I think you are a lesser person. You are just enjoying the spirit the way that you enjoy it. I'm just trying to educate you on things that you can do. So, this is our whiskey. We've come to the point where, go ahead people, enjoy your whiskey. I hope that you found this video to be educational. If you've never seen any of my previous Bourbon 101 videos, I highly recommend giving them a look, and it will help you in your journey into fully appreciating the spirit. I will continue to make these because I absolutely love to take my appreciation and love for whiskey and pass it on to you guys. So, if you are new and you did enjoy it, think about hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to leave a comment down below letting me know where you are in your whiskey journey. Is this the first time you've ever had whiskey? The first video you've ever watched? What's your favorite whiskey or bourbon? Anything at all that you would like to leave down below, I will appreciate, and I will read and respond to everything. Now remember guys, the whiskey's not going to drink itself. We're going to have to help it. Cheers, my friends.